Okay, I am actually doing another video that I was asked to do, and I forgot to buy the nuts that I needed, so I'm going to actually be using walnuts instead. But I was asked to make some white chocolate chip macadamia cookies to help troubleshoot an issue that Kira was having with them, and she wanted to watch it be done. So I'm doing this exactly step by step. This is my recipe. A couple of my friends back home that are on the group have had them, and so, you know, so have my kids. So what I'm starting with, and I'm going to be doing this step by step for her. I've had my eggs sitting out at room temperature since I got home from work. Okay, and I have 2 eggs here. And I've also had my butter. And what I'm going to show is that I am using actual salted butter. So the recipe calls for salt, but I'm omitting it because I'm using the salted butter. And for room temperature, you want to be able to push on your butter. Okay, and it's going to leave an indentation. It's not going to squish or anything like that. It's going to still hold its shape. So what you're going to start with is 1½ sticks of butter. And what I like to do is I like to go ahead and get this started to break up a little bit. And why I'm doing that, sorry, I have a lot going on in this kitchen right now, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my sugar. And in this instance, my recipe actually calls for both white and brown sugar. So the white sugar is actually 1/2 cup. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. As you can see, well, you can't really see it yet. Let me move this a little bit. You're going to get a bounce. Okay? You can see where the butter's actually started clinging to my beater. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my white sugar. And then I need 1 cup of brown sugar. And you're going to want that packed. Okay, so when you actually dump it, it's going to hold its shape. Let me take this off so you can see it. Okay, it's actually holding its shape, and you saw I dumped it from the top down. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to start creaming. I'm going to do it on a little bit higher to get the butter off. I'm going to start creaming my butter and my sugar together. And I do like to do this in a separate bowl. And that way you can see it. So in this bowl here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for 2 cups of flour. Here's 1. I'm going to shut that off a minute. there's 2. And I also need 2 tablespoons. There's 1. And there's 2. And then I need half a teaspoon of baking soda. And if I was going to be using salt, this is where you would put the salt in, and it would be 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm going to just take my whisk, and I'm just going to go ahead and whisk this all together so it's incorporated together, so you don't have a spot. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the eggs, and we're going to do the first egg. And I'm going to actually separate it. So it's going to be 1 egg plus 1 yolk. Go ahead and put that in the mixer. And carefully, I normally do it in a bowl, but make sure you don't get any shells in here. And go ahead and turn that back on. You just want to beat it until it's right in there. And here is what it looks like. Turn it. Sorry, I'm going to try to move the mixer. Okay, and there's what it looks like. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding my flour a little bit at a time. Okay, and I'm going to incorporate all of the flour. I think I grabbed the wrong beater for this mixer. Still got some down at the bottom that hasn't come in. Okay, at this point, let me clean off this excess flour. Okay, I've opened up my chips that are starting to melt due to the oven. Okay, so I need 3/4 of a cup. So I got a half there. And I have a 1/4 there. And the macadamias, I would be chopping them also. These are probably going to be a little bit more than what I want. What was that noise? So I'm going to just give these a rough chop, just like you would if you were doing the macadamias. Because macadamias, well, what I've seen come whole. And with these, you do want to do kind of smaller pieces. So you don't have big hunks of nut. Excuse me. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this dough off. Okay. I'm not going to measure these because you know that you're going to need 3/4 of a cup. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And try to get as much of this off as you can. And then what you want to do is you just want to stir this in. And this, my thing's not going to work. And this is what your dough is going to look like. Okay, it is going to be a big hunk of cookie dough. And at this present time, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and form it into a mound. Cover it up with some plastic wrap. Stick it in the refrigerator for an hour and let it chill. Okay, because we're going to be using a cookie scoop on this. And even though the batter's at room temperature, you're going to be cooking it at 325. You want the batter to actually take a little bit longer to melt so the cookie doesn't spread really wide onto your cookie sheet. So I'll be back when I'm ready to put these into the oven.